Guys, all right, we are going to talk AJ Franklin, more AJ than Franklin, but I need a favour first. Punch Perfect has come all the way from Luton, which is pretty far from where I am, so I need a favour. The link to his channel is in the description. Subscribe to his channel right now. Like right now, now. So stop watching this video, go to the channel, subscribe and come back. All right, let's do this. AJ Franklin, honest thoughts, when the fight was first announced, what was your feelings?
I was okay with it, to be honest.
Wow!
I think AJ needs a confidence builder, and I think there are heavyweights that have had easier confidence builder fights against opponents that have been very much criticised. So, you know, Franklin's not coming off a bad performance by any means. He surprised a lot of people what he was able to do. I think for Joshua now, he just needs a bit of mojo back, a bit of confidence. He obviously now with a new trainer as well is going to need some learning and development time. But for me, it's just been so long since AJ really messed someone up. And I think he's lost that element now. I think he thinks his way through fights a little bit more, like I say, which has opened the door. As we mentioned earlier with Fury and Usyk, he makes a lot of his opponents look good now because he does look a little bit worried about what he's doing.
Scared.
Yeah.
Scared, yeah.
And that door, I think, opened around the Klitschko time, and then Ruiz heightened it. And I think since then, we've just not really seen... I know the Pulev fight, we saw glimpses of it, but if that was the old AJ, Pulev wouldn't have got out of that second or third round where he was in bad trouble. So I just think AJ needs that. But in the same breath, I said when it was Franklin, it's only a good opponent if he does go out there and do the job and looks good. But at the same time, you do need a bit of development with a new trainer, because if he's going to head into big fights again, Joshua, he does need to improve, because we've seen he can't compete with the best two in the division right now. Obviously, he hasn't fought Fury, but we all rank Fury above him and probably pick Fury. So he does need to develop under Derek James as well. So it's difficult for him. I don't think he can win either way. If he wins in stunning fashion, everyone says, yeah, he's got a bit of confidence, but Franklin was rubbish anyway. If he doesn't look good,
Jesus Christ.
Derek James may come away from it going, you boxed well, I liked this, we need to work on it. And they may actually be happy with the performance, but everyone will just continue to kind of jump on.
Yeah, that
AJ.
He's done, he's finished, he's rubbish, bandwagon. It's interesting you say that we clearly see there's not enough to beat number 1 and 2. And you're right, obviously he fought Usyk twice and he lost. And I think most people, sensible people, would have Fury beating him as well. I think the big question is there enough to beat number 3 and 4 in Joe Joyce or Wilder? That's the thing. Like, right now, AJ's not firmly as the number 3. A lot of people, again, if you ask, would say Wilder knocks him out and Joe Joyce potentially stops him as well.
A lot of people pick Joyce.
Yeah, I've seen a big swing.
Yeah.
Like I said initially, AJ would destroy Joyce. But now, again, you ask 100 boxing fans, I'm not joking. I think about 80 would say Joe Joyce. Yeah. So you are correct. And I'm happy you mentioned that AJ just needs a confidence builder, because I have to be honest, I was initially a bit upset with it being Franklin, just because I thought maybe Otto Volin made more sense because of the Fury fight, and I don't think Franklin's that good. But he does need just to put someone in his backside. Yeah, he needs to go out there, look vicious and destroy someone, and confidence is a big thing in this sport. And I feel like once he does that, then it's another rebuild fight in the summer, and it could be Dillian White, and then we get to the big boys of the division.
That's the important thing. He has to be busy. You can't fight Franklin, that be the only thing this year, or you fight in December. You have to go summer again, end of the year again. That's what kind of validates it.
No, I agree. What do you make of the Derek James link up? I asked this because I wasn't, you said in the other video that Usyk kind of comfortably beat AJ. And it's weird because the scorecards, I think, were exactly the same in my head. Like, I think I gave it 9 rounds to 3 for the fight they had in Tottenham and the fight in Saudi. But I thought AJ looked a better. I thought AJ looked a bit better in Saudi. So I was like, I wasn't too disappointed with the Garcia matchup. I thought that was actually right. But then obviously there seemed to be stuff going on behind the scenes. What do you make of Derek James as his trainer as opposed to Garcia?
I like the mindset shift. I like moving out to Texas and being in that gym. I mean, Jamel Charlo is one of the strongest personalities in boxing, like ever.
And, to ever exist, by the way. Yeah.
And Errol Spencer's a little bit more laid back, but again, an elite mentality, a winner, a guy that wants to be the best. You know, Frank Martin is one of the best up and coming fighters in the sport as well. I think it's good for him to get away from Sheffield, Loughborough, and actually go over there and experience that, take himself out his comfort zone a little bit. In terms of the link up, it'll be interesting to see what Derek James can do. I have Derek James down as one of the best trainers in boxing. He was my trainer of the year last year. I think he's done some. And I think when you look at the way he's helped fighters adjust as well, especially Jamel in that Brian Castano rematch, where he was just so much less emotional, and I think AJ needs to be a little bit less emotional. But it'll be interesting to see. He's not a miracle worker, And we
Does
have
AJ
seen,
need a miracle?
the thing is, the thing for me is the mindset. I know he's got the athletic ability, and I think he's actually got the skills to compete at the highest level. For me, it's just I thought he lost a little bit after Klitschko. I thought he lost a little bit even more after Ruiz.
No,
and
I think he lost a lot after Ruiz.
And I don't think he's quite got it back. And he may have lost some after Usyk with the way he reacted in the rematch, because he clearly built himself up so emotionally to put himself in a place of, I'm a killer, I'm going to take him out. So I think he's lost a little bit. And the mindset thing is, I think Derek James can help him get back. But when I say he's not a miracle worker, Marcus Brown is a guy that's extremely talented, got a lot of ability, a bit of a suspect chin, can be hurt. But Derek James couldn't work the wonders to kind of get his mindset right and kind of work those tricks as well. So I think AJ needs to apply himself here. But in terms of if you're going to pick a trainer out there, Derek James is one of the best to go and do the job for you.
Yeah, and look, I think there's two different ways to look at this. If this was Derek James coming over here, I wouldn't be so confident. I'd be like, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. My biggest thing is AJ, not so much Derek James, because I do think it gets to a stage with any fighter, and if you're a fighter that's fought for world titles, it's not that you don't need a trainer, but it's almost the case, it's up to you. You know what to do. Yeah. You know the sparring, you know the bag work, you know everything else to do. It's who's around him. Yeah. Like I put a video out the other day, and one of the videos I said, I hope that AJ is around Errol and Jamel. And someone reached out to me, someone from AJ's team, and said, AJ's out there with Jamel a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, good.
Good.
I need you to be around that killer.
Good. And
I need you to be around Jamel more so than Errol, because Jamel's lost to Tony Harrison, got his belt back.
Yeah.
I thought he lost to Castano, but then showed in the rematch, not a problem. So he's been through, not necessarily what AJ's been through, but he's had the highs and the lows. Because I remember after the Tony Harrison fight, he was crying, he was emotional as well, and then he got his belt back. So I'm hoping that AJ listens to him a bit and follows him and that kind of dog and elite mentality of it's okay to lose, but you got to get it back. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping.
And Jamel, one of the reasons he's lost those fights in the past, especially the Castano, was emotion and fighting his fight. I think for AJ, sometimes his emotion gets the better of him a little bit. Jamel's learned how to handle that and not just like control it, but like in the Castano rematch, he was perfect. Like he didn't let it get onto him at all.
How good was he? Incredible.
Yeah, he was proactive. He was busy. He did everything right in that rematch. And how much of that is Derek James will be the thing that we'll hopefully get to see in AJ. But I don't think it's a bad fight for him to come back to. It could have been a lot worse, to be honest. And I know the Otto Wallin thing, I can understand that as well. But I think the southpaw thing, Usyk's the best southpaw in the division. I know Fury can switch to it.
You're not going to fight another
You're not going to fight another one, so you're not really
What's
preparing for much. You probably should have fought Wallin before you fought Usyk if you wanted that. So
Indeed. And I think we also forget sometimes, especially with AJ, he fought Usyk, dude. Yeah. He fought Usyk back to back. He fought arguably the best cruiserweight we've ever seen, and a guy that I think's just sensational. Yeah. Like, honestly, just in terms of just a pure boxer that mixes up, like he goes through the gears unlike any boxer I've seen in recent years. There's no problem in losing to that kind of guy. You're right, though. It's the mentality after. Yeah. I was obviously there, and when he took the mic and had that, call it a mini breakdown if you want, right, in the ring, I hope that's been fixed. Yeah. And I'm sure it has been, but I hope that's been fixed. So that's kind of what Derek James has to work on. Yeah. Because I think Derek James will look at AJ and think, geez, you've got a lot. Yeah. Like in terms of just your frame, your boxing ability, your left hook, your uppercuts. Boxing wise, I don't have to work on you that much. It's here that I need to kind of do the work. And that's why I think it was so important for AJ to say, okay, look, we're packing our bags, we're going to Texas. Yeah,
I was going to ask you a question, actually. You went to the presser for AJ Franklin. One thing me and a few others commented, I've got a Discord server and we were talking about it, thought AJ looked a little bit bigger. I know that kind of in recent years he's kind of trimmed down quite a lot, and there's been talk, will he bulk up? There's sometimes pictures of him where he looks bulky. Yeah. But it was the first time I thought, actually, you look like pre-Ruiz, you look big again. Yeah. Did you 100%. Kind of notice that as well?
Yeah, I remember because I'm always kind of, every time I interview him, because I go to the gym and try and get buff myself. I remember thinking, geez, you're big. Yeah. And I remember going to his strength and conditioner who was there as well. I can't remember the guy's name. Forgive me, sorry. And I said, has he been doing the weights? Yeah. He's like, no, it's just other stuff that he's been doing. Like in terms of, I think we've seen him with pictures hitting the tree recently. Yeah. I think he's been doing other stuff like that, and he's just naturally put back on his size. Yeah. I think for Usyk, I think because of how Usyk moves, I don't think you can be heavy. Yeah. Because you're just going to get drained.
It was even the Ruiz rematch. People said you couldn't outbox him for 12 rounds.
So he was gassing a little bit. So he went really small, didn't he? So I think with Jermaine Franklin, I think it's just destruction.
Yeah.
I think he's built for, I'm going to run through you and destroy you.
I hope so. I want to see that back.
Badly want
Whether
to see
you're
that.
an AJ fan or not, it's better him winning in the division than it is
This is
losing.
it.
I don't know why.
I don't understand why people don't understand that logic.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to see those fights against Joe Joyce and Fury and Wilder, surely you want to see the best AJ against them.
Yeah.
Like, surely you want those fights to happen. If AJ loses, and I know a few people were, he's lost. Well, okay, we've missed out on some big fights because we're not going to get those stadium fights anymore.
And we spoke about Usyk versus Fury being the most important and the one we have to see. It's the most legacy-defining fight at heavyweight. If you take all the belts away and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy a fight, AJ versus Wilder is still right there.
God.
And
AJ
we need them to keep winning for that to happen.
AJ Wilder, AJ Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
And look, Fury will be AJ. I think Fury's a better boxer than AJ, especially this AJ version of AJ right now.
Yep.
But for AJ to have not fought Fury, two British guys, same age, same era, champions, is a disaster. So even if you do think Fury beats AJ, and I get it, a lot of you do, that fight's still got to happen somehow.
I think he beats him quite comfortably, to be honest.
But it's got to happen.
It's got to happen.
It's got to happen.
Yeah, and we talk about fights with British boxing. Is it on the kind of on the downward slope? I mean, that fight just gets I remember Froch Groves 2 and what that did. This would be another level.
It would sell out in seconds.
Yep.
It's funny, actually, I say sell out. Are you surprised that AJ Franklin hasn't sold out?
That is really surprising, because I
hell's
probably
going
made
on?
the same mistake that all us YouTubers do, where we go, yeah, it'll be pay-per-view because he could fight me or you, and it will sell.
Yeah.
Well, I say that pretty much every time
same
AJ
here.
fight. Yeah, it will sell out if he fights me.
Yeah.
Really surprised, and I'd like to know whether that's a sign of, obviously
Interesting,
things
innit?
are getting a little
to
bit
go
harder.
From stadiums, is it a case of just economics?
Shows
everyone
every
struggling?
weekend, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but surely it's AJ.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if you're DAZN and you're matching, like, 1 second, what's going on here? I do think it will sell out by the time it rolls round,
Yeah.
but normally it's like sold out, 20 minutes, can't get a ticket, it's done.
AJ was the night out in boxing.
Yeah.
You go to the O2.
You go with your missus. People go with their missus.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So has surprised me. All right, final one on this. I've said a win's not enough, and some might argue and say get the W. I'm like, no, he's got to destroy him. I said they've picked Franklin, and sometimes it can go the wrong way, but they've picked Franklin for AJ to knock Franklin out. Does it have to be a knockout?
For me, yes.
Yeah,
He needs a confidence booster, and
Yeah.
the only way you get that is by knocking someone out. That's what AJ gives him confidence. He needs to feel like a killer again, because he hasn't felt like that in quite a long time. So it has to be a knockout. They can come away and say, Derek James may be happy with something if it's not a knockout. He may have seen something he liked, but as a fan, we're not in charge of his corner and his team moving forwards. We need to see a
What
knockout.
about the worst? It's almost unthinkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost for me, it's unthinkable.
We're talking about the O2's not sold out yet. I mean, if he loses, what happens then?
I don't know. It's funny because I'm gonna have to in my head do videos about that, like the what if.
Yeah.
Because I mean, who knows? I mean, if Franklin lands a clean one, like you said, AJ has the ability of making his fighters look better than they are.
Yeah.
If he doesn't shut the door on Franklin quickly, a bit like Dylan White didn't, then all of a sudden Franklin started to get better through the rounds. Remember that round 9 where he had Dylan White out of there? If you don't put this guy to sleep quickly, boy.
He used to go gun-ho when he had people hurt. He don't do it anymore in case of the gas tank. Franklin showed against Dylan White. He'll hang in there if you don't get rid of him, so don't make that mistake.
Don't make that mistake, please. All right, guys, don't make this mistake. Don't make the mistake of not subscribing to Jamie Bourne Pump Perfect's YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Great content. Video uploads every day nearly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, like me, old school, pretty much every single day. So you're getting your fix. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Please hit my subscribe button as well if you haven't done it already. And we'll see you on the next one.